Welcome back to the shipyard, and some more beginner advice. We're going to continue looking at some of the smaller factions and how to keep using them and the lessons we can learn and how they apply to flying, to building, to making the most of your fleet, which is something I strive to do on the shipyard. I strive to help you guys make the most of every piece that is in your fleet. The Kazon faction is hurt a little bit by the fact that 2 of their 5 ships are blind boosters. And that's the Nistrum Culla in the most recent reinforcement booster, and the Rolaris Sankur, which was a Resistance is Futile booster. That was the second set of boosters. I will say, at least it wasn't a collective booster. Those are really tough to find. But it still makes it tough. Tough to track them down. But if you can find them, they become pretty worthwhile. The Nistrum Culla is not a hard find for most people. A lot of players have extras. So, anyways, I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. So, what Kazon do really well is that they have 180-degree firing arcs. Now, as such, their maneuverability is pretty bad. All their maneuver dials, well, their 2 maneuver dials, look pretty similar between big ship and small ship. The 2 differences are that the big ships have a 1 reverse, the small ships have a 3 come about. The big ships, the 2 turn is red, the small ships, the 2 turn is white. And I sit there and I go, okay, come about versus reverse, that is enough of a difference to kind of go, okay. But the turns, that doesn't really make a difference to me. I would have rather seen the small ships have 1 and 2 hard turns, even if the 1 was red, but I digress. The star of the Kazon faction, at least when it comes to ships, is the Rolaris Sankur. And that is the ship that says if you performed a green maneuver this round, during the roll attack die step of the combat phase, roll +1 attack die. It turns it from a 4 attack die ship into a 5, or a 5 into a 6 at range 1, and it's got 2 crew, 2 weapon, and a tech slot, which is a really good way to break it down. Plus it's got battle station and target lock actions on the action bar. You can do a ton with that. Really, that's one of the big features of Kazon is, hey, we've got battle stations. We're a weird faction, but we've got battle stations. We can get quality on our ships. So, for that reason, I really do like them. The Nistrum Culla is an interesting ship. It's a when attacking a ship at range 3 during the roll attack die step, gain +1 attack die for every friendly ship within range 1 of your ship, max of 2. I want to like it. It works fairly well in like a Kazon pure build, but there's still something that just eats me because it is a range 3 only ability. So there's some tricks you can make work with it. The Kazon tractor beam is certainly something that can help. The Nistrum Culla stay away at range 3. And that's a card that I think needs to see a lot more play. That tractor beam is a fantastic card. It is one of the standout upgrades that really do make Kazon a faction that you go, oh, okay. That's a card we can do something with. So, yeah, they've got some weird cards, some interesting cards, but nothing that truly defines them. Ambition is one of those talents that feels super thematic for Kazon. Run it with just a captain and ambition. And then you're good to go. Maybe even that on the Reloris Sankur. And now you've got 7 dice with quality. I'd be okay with that. It's tricky. They do have one nice weapon, which is the particle beam weapon, specifically the one that comes on the Ogla Razik, because it's the exact same cost as the one that comes on the Reloris Sankur, but it gives you another die. It does the exact same thing, but it gives you an extra die. And I scratch my head at that. And I go, what, really? But yeah, it's one of those things. I wouldn't spend a ton of points on other cards. Roulette is one that will help you with quality. Yeah, in terms of the rest of the crew, not what you really need. So you're kind of going at this point, at least I'm going at this point, what have we really accomplished with the Kazon faction? Sure, they've got attack dice, they've got some quality, but not any more than, say, Federation. They've got 180 arcs, but again, Federation or Dominion. We've got Coronax. Coronax have 5 attack dice, 180 arcs, battle stations. What have we done here that's better? Well, we've got a little bit more durability. There's something here. When you play Kazon, it almost feels like a challenge. And maybe that's not the best thing for a new player, but I find, at least in my experience, that when I'm given a challenge, I play with a little bit of an extra edge. I want the underdog fleet to win. I want that cunning edge. And maybe there's something about Cullen and the way he just irked me every time I saw him on screen. When I play Kazon, I get this extra motivation that I want to win. I want to beat my opponent because they have looked at Kazon and they've dismissed me. They've gone, he's running Kazon. How tough could he be? And maybe it's that edge. Maybe it's letting your opponent underestimate you. Because Kazon really are not that great of a faction. Yeah, you can run certain things. You gotta mix and match. You gotta pick your moments. And when you do that, you can succeed. You can do well. If you don't, you need that little something extra. So, how do you fly these guys? Well, the good news is that they work very independently. They work a lot like Vulcans in that regard. They're 180 arc ships, so they'll work as flankers. You can put them basically anywhere on the board. Again, I like to set these guys up on an angle and do banks back and forth because I will cover a lot of ground as I go. And I will almost always have a firing arc on something. Maybe not my ideal target, but I'm never going to be left without any target. And that's a huge advantage in Kazon. I mean, yes, it's an advantage in 180 arc ships, but in terms of Kazon specifically, you've got the reverse. So when your opponent sneaks in behind you, you can back up and you're good to go. That's the big ships, at least. The small ships, I don't really like running outside of trying to come up with just a fluffy thematic build. The Halik Raider just gets you a little bit more defense, but you're trading guaranteed durability for random chance, and that's really iffy. The Nistrum Raider, however, does have a lot of potential. That's one that says when attacking an enemy ship, that's one that says when attacking an enemy ship with a scan token next to it with your primary weapon, roll +2 attack dice. So all of a sudden you jump from a 2 attack dice ship up to a 4 attack dice ship, and you've only paid 20 points to do that. You need to bring Cloaked Mines. So the Nistrum Raider is not one that works on its own. It's not even one that really works well in Kazon Pure, but it's one that can work as a piece of a puzzle. Even if you're playing Ship Pure, it's there. So keep the Nistrum Raider in mind for future things that we do. It can come into play, and it's not a bad support thing. Anytime you have 180 arc ships, you're in a good place. I think that's the biggest takeaway from Kazon, is 180 arc, good, reasonable maneuverability, good, battle stations quality, good, more so having the option of battle station or target lock, even better. The big thing for Kazon is their ability to get extra defense dice, and unfortunately, that's not the most useful thing in the game for a couple of reasons. One, defense dice lose to attack dice, even if you have the same number. There's more ways to modify and get extra attack dice, but even then, attack dice hit 4 out of 8, defense dice roll 3 out of 8. Your defense dice have to outnumber their attack dice in order to have any kind of a legitimate chance to evade their attack. And so because of that, Kazon really get backed into a corner, and most of their cards are very situational, and they don't stack all that well. So you're left trying to pick just those couple of cards that will actually play a good role for you, which makes it really tough to build a fleet that does something important. And then as soon as you do, you run into cards that make you roll no defense dice, and you bash your head against your hand and go, dope. I'm not entirely sure how helpful all of that's been, other than maybe to ward you off of Kazon as a beginner. I really think Kazon are a more intermediate to advanced faction. I certainly wouldn't want to play them as a beginner. They can be cool, but they're tough. Not as tough as the Ferengi, but they're tough. I still don't want to tackle the Ferengi years later. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, we'll see you around the shipyard. Take care.